Kral space, I'm Kim Kral. Kral space, I'm invading your space. Kral space, I'm Kim Kral.
Hey, it's Kral Space. I'm Kim Kral. I am reporting to you not live from my closet. I'm having some weird technical difficulties, and last week I was told my sound was kind of off, and I've been screaming at my computer alone in my closet for the last 30 minutes. I got shit to do. GarageBand, that's where I record on. I don't know if there's a better. I feel like there's a lot easier way for me to record this podcast, but I'm never one of those people that does anybody else do this? And I'm like, I'm gonna look into that, and then I just never look into that until I come in here to record, which I do once a week. And then I'm like, oh, I should look into that. And then as soon as I leave the closet, I completely forget about it. I do that with a lot of aspects of my life. Maybe that's why I'm where I'm at. Actually, I like where I'm at, so I don't mind. But it looks like, oh man, I'm like literally, I was in such a good mood when I came into this closet, and now I'm want to scream. Technology makes me so angry. And I don't know, I don't know, it just makes me so angry. Just like scream angry. Take a deep breath with me. Hi guys. I wanted to record yesterday. I had time yesterday to do some recording in the morning, but then I was like, I want to record the day after this election because I want to know how. Truthfully, it was for my own scrapbooking type purposes. I'm like, oh, I think in 20 years I'm going to want to look back and see how I felt the day after this historic election. Fuck, dude. Yesterday was brutal. I woke up really hopeful this morning though. Really, really hopeful. There's a lot of really good numbers. It's what people, I don't know. I think a lot of us, I'm going to try and organize my thoughts. I'm telling you, I was in such a good mood and ready to talk about this until this whole thing fucked up when I got in the closet. It looks like it's better now. Oh my gird. Yeah, so I just, I don't know, remember 2016? And it's funny, I guess I keep forgetting that not everyone is not racist and doesn't, the way I put it, I was on a Zoom on Halloween, and there was a Trump supporter in there, and I don't know her. I've met her on Zoom maybe twice in the pandemic, so I don't know her at all. But her friend that had invited her was is one of the most lovely liberal people I've ever met in my life, but she justified it. She's like, well, she's one of the 1%, and she's just never had to deal with any diversity. And so I don't think she's racist, but it's all about money for her. And I'm like, why is that the defense you're using? What the fuck are you talking about? And the way I look at it, I don't think, and you've probably seen it a million times, but I don't think every Trump supporter is racist, but I do think that they have decided that every Trump supporter has decided that racism isn't a deal breaker for them. Racism is a deal breaker for me with anything. Literally anything. That's a deal breaker. I was just on Facebook talking to a dude I went to college with who I adore. And he was saying that Facebook, I guess, is posting a bunch of ads saying don't unfriend over politics. And I was like, I'm not unfriending over politics. He's like, these are people that you and I both know that we went to college with that have these beliefs. And I'm like, cool, bye. That's a fucking deal breaker for me. That's I don't know how that's not a deal. When someone, I don't know. And so I'm losing my train of thought already. I got so distracted. But I remember in 2016, it was just there's no way this guy is going to win. I mean, the shit that he said back then, I mean, it's way worse now. We didn't think it could get worse. But back then, how he categorized every Mexican that was coming in here from Mexico a rapist and a murderer, and that people, that we have neighbors, people that we see on the street, people that in our country that were yeah, that's right. What the fuck, right? And so in 2016, I was working at a bar in Highland Park, which is I don't know. If you're not in LA, it's just a borough of LA. It's not a big deal. It's not anything. You don't need, I don't even know why I told you where it is because it's not important to the story at all. But I was working at this bar And it was like a little hole in the wall dive bar where it was mostly regulars. And it was the night before the election, and everyone had a drink, and I poured a shot, and we like toasted. Like, I remember yelling, "Here's to the first woman president of the United States," and everyone cheered, and we all, took our shot, and like we all were so confident. And I remember watching part of the election with my buddy Alex, and then he left. He left before Hillary conceded. Like, he left. He was just like, "I can't fucking watch this," and left. Because I remember we just watched all the red, and it was just like, oh God, we didn't know that the country was this racist. Like, we didn't know. And like, look at it this way. Like, of course every black friend I have is like, yeah, we knew that the whole time. Like, it's been racist the whole time. And the only thing I can like equate that to is that I think that's the right word. Is that like when the Me Too movement happened and all the men were like, "We didn't know that you guys got harassed and assaulted that much." And we're like, yeah, the whole time. So it's just like, I just didn't know. And it was so, like, I didn't get out of bed for like 2 or 3 days. Like, I think I only worked at that Highland Park job and like 2 days a week or maybe 3 days a week. And so like, I just like, for the next week, I just laid in bed, and it was just like, we never knew how bad it could get. And then there's still people that don't think the shit this guy says is a deal breaker. Now, I know a lot of people are like, and I'm not a political podcast, and I promise I'll do some fun stories, but this is huge, dude. This is like the biggest election of our lifetime. And I will say that my vagina is for sure closed to anyone who did not vote in this election, and also to anyone who didn't vote for Biden. Sorry, that's the hard line in the sand. If you didn't vote for Biden, you don't get to fuck me. And extra, you don't get to fuck me if you voted third party or for Kanye. A lot of people voted for Kanye. Like, our country, Jesus Christ. I think I was talking to, I am in a group chat I think I talk about a lot with 3 of the most lovely women I get to call best friends, and they're so fucking smart. And one of them was just like, even if Biden wins, the work's not over. Like, the gap of knowledge in this country with education wise and is so vast. So that's why someone like Trump can win, and he knows that. And it's like people, it's just a lot of really poor white people that are voting against their own interests because of racism, I think. God, that just breaks my heart. It breaks my fucking heart. But this time I wasn't hopeful the way I was in 2016, right? I wasn't like, I was cautiously optimistic. I voted. It's wild to me that that people don't on the other side, and yeah, it sucks. There's sides on the other side aren't looking at how much, like, aren't looking at the fact that like so much effort is being put into not cheating, the Republicans not cheating, like fake ballot boxes they're trying to pull those down. And like if my side was just actively cheating, I would be like, I feel like I ought to think about this. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I like every now and then I stop and I'm like, the bad guy never thinks they're bad. You know what I mean? There's a Star Wars meme. There's two stormtroopers, and one stormtrooper goes, "Hey man, do you ever think that maybe we're on the wrong side of this, like the wrong side of history?" And he goes, Nah, we're the good guys. Now let's get back to the death to the spaceship." It's like, yeah, so like the bad guy never knows they're bad. And I've thought about that before. I'm like, am I bad? Am I the bad guy? And the only reason I know I'm on the right side of history is because the way I believe is love and equality, and that's the only way oh my God, so last night was really fucking dire. I did have what a weird day, you know what I mean? Like, what a weird cocktail of emotions yesterday. I booked a commercial. Your girl booked a commercial. I've never said your girl. I always want to say that. I've like written out the words, your girl did it, like to my girlfriends in my group text or like other best friends, like just like, your girl, guess, but every time I write it, I'm like, I don't think I can pull it off. And this is the first time I tried to do it, and I can't pull it off. I can't. So the Kralski booked a commercial. There's a kid I work with at the bar. Oh God, I love this fucking kid. He's one of the most intense. He just screams fuck like probably 15 times a shift, and he's just this intense little delight. I love him. And I call myself the Kralski. Something happened and I was like, oh, the tables are coming up nice. Everything's coming out great for the Kralski. And he just screams, no one calls you that. No one calls you the Kralski. And I was like, I've been calling myself the Kralski since I was a kid. And he was like, well, it's stupid. God, I love this kid. Not like we're laughing. He's not being a dick. But yesterday, so I can't say your girl booked a commercial, but I booked a commercial. It's so funny. The audition process is just so fucking funny to me. It was a self-tape like most of these are, and if you're not in Hollywood, then you might not know what that is. Before you would go into in-person auditions, so you would go into like a building, and you would go into a room, and there'd be typically just like one guy in there, maybe sometimes two, which would be like the client, which is like like the client is if like when I did the Norms commercials, it would be the director. And then Norms, the woman who does the advertising for Norms, right? So she's the client. And then you just read the script and they film you and then you go home. And now with the pandemic, you do it at home by yourself. And if you go to my Instagram, I post the slate. I've posted a couple of the slates. So the slate is the thing that you do in the beginning where you're like, hi, I'm Kim Kral and I can be reached at. My agent is, I'm 5'11". I'm so bad at that part. I'm so bad at it. And I wasn't bad at it in person. Well, because you couldn't exactly like be like, hi, I'm Kim Kral. Wait, let me start over. Hey, I'm Kim Kral. Fuck, let me start over. Like you can't exactly do that in person. Maybe I'll try that when we're allowed to do stuff in person again. In the year 2035. These self-tapes are rough because you can be so hypercritical of yourself, right? Like if you're in the room with the people, you don't really start over. It's just like one and done, you leave, and if you did it, you did it, and if you don't, you didn't, right? But at home, you can just really criticize everything. Like my lip turns up really funny when I say that one word 2 minutes in. Like you have to just kind of let it go, right? So I had two self-tapes on Saturday that I just completely spaced out. Just forgot. I don't have any other explanation. Yeah, actually last week was a cocktail of emotions of last week. I'll tell you about that in a little bit. I'll tell you I told you when things are still sort of with me, I play them close to the chest just till I kind of process them, and then I'll tell you all about them because I'm an open book, dude. So yeah, I just had like a emotional week, so I just completely spaced them. And Saturday was my no wash hair day, so I put my hair in braids and had a hat on. And around like 5 o'clock, when both auditions are due at 7, I was like, fuck! This is why I like the kid I work with, because I yell, fuck! All the time, too. God, I love that kid. He's like 25, I think. I don't know. He's just really intense. I just love him. He'll never listen to this. I think he told me point blank, I'll never listen to your podcast. That's mean a little bit, but I really appreciate just hardcore honesty. Like, even if it's shitty, I'd rather you be honest with me than like sugar-coated. Not everyone feels that way, but just fucking don't sugarcoat. I don't know what I'm saying. So I was like, fuck, I could shower, get completely ready, and but I was just like, you're not booking these things anyway, so just fuck it. Just do it with the hat. Who cares? I did it with the hat, and I booked the commercial. So I show up last night, and so my call time is at 5, and I don't know about anyone else, and I would suggest you do this because I did go to the store yesterday for the last time in a month. I don't need to go to the store for a month. I stocked up on everything for a month. I filled my gas tank. I know that sounds really doom and gloom, but I don't know how the next week is going to play out. And I don't think it's going to be flowery rainbows. You know what I'm trying to say, right? And I would suggest you go, not panic buy, but toilet paper is gone again. That apparently people freak out about not being able to wipe their asshole when the world ends. Because, I got news for you. If shit goes down to the Walking Dead style, those people definitely don't wipe their asses. I mean, they probably do with, leaves, but I'm sure they get, a bunch of, poison ivy. I mean, there's a whole bunch of mess of issues that those people probably have while they're wandering around the woods killing zombies and each other, And so it's just so funny that toilet paper, and it's not like you could buy a bunch of toilet paper and then it, lasts. Toilet paper, you use it all the time. I don't know. So I went to the store and stocked up. And what was I saying? Oh, yesterday. Okay. And so I went to the store, finished stocking up, and then I wanted to be home last night. My friend's birthday was last night. I feel bad I didn't go, and like I don't know if she understood. I feel like everyone's just gonna have to understand. I need to breathe, dude. I am so all over the fucking map, and all I want to do right now is refresh my Google. Anyone else just doing that? I'm just like staring at my phone, like I'm just like praying some dude calls me, like just like ring. That's how I feel right now. But I just need to breathe. I wanted to. Oh yeah, my friend's birthday was last night. I kind of felt bad, but I feel like people need to start, people, especially right now. I mean, always we should do this, but like, especially right now with everything that's going on, we're all just going to have to learn to accept each other's boundaries. Like, she must have asked me if I was coming like 14 times. And I was just like, girl, like, I mean, not in like a, like, are you coming? Not in a shitty way. Like, it's nice. It means she wanted me at her birthday, but it was just like, I don't think I want to leave my house. Like, so I didn't want to leave at all yesterday, but then I booked this commercial, and it's like, well, yeah, you want the work, you want the exposure. It's exciting to book a commercial. You know, it's your fucking dream, right? And so, but my call time's not till 5, and I'm like, fuck. Hopefully, but they also were like, it's only going to be like an hour and a half of your time. Like, it's a real quick commercial. It's like an internet. It's a small one. None of you will probably see it unless I post it. Like, I think it's like an internet ad or something like that. But it's still working. I'm still proud of myself. But they were like, it's gonna be like an hour and a half of your time tops. And I'm like, cool. Well, 5 o'clock. I'm like, please let me just get home by 8. Let me just get home by 8. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know. And so I drive to the shoot last night, and I drive through Beverly Hills, and I drive through a Trump. See, I can't call it a rally because there was like 100, like it was like a sad rally. And then I'm like, well, it's not protest. Like, what the fuck are you protesting? There's no, what is happening? Like, you want to just like write a sign and be like, yo, you don't have to do this now. You could just go vote. Like, that's more effective than you screaming in strangers' cars, which they were doing. And half of them were dressed like Donald Trump. Like, half of them were dressed like Donald Trump. Wig, orange face, and all. Like, what the fuck? And a lot of really scary flags. Yeah, you know what kind of flags. There's multiple scary ones, but yeah, those flags. And then one flag that was the American flag that they had written Trump on and then wrote fuck your feelings. That was in Beverly Hills yesterday. And so I'm driving through that, and it's just like the best thing you can do is just like not look, you know. My friend Jess, I was like, I don't know what to call it. My friend Jess was like, a tailgate? I was like, yeah, I guess they're tailgating. Just a sad tailgate for the president. Like, I was really proud to vote for Obama the 2 times. And yesterday, I was really proud that I voted for Biden. But I will never, ever buy a flag and tape it to my car and scream at strangers. Like, that's wild to me. Like, you guys know how much I love Sarah Michelle Gellar. Love Sarah Michelle Gellar. I was kind of afraid the guy I went out with last week wasn't going to call me because of how much I love Sarah Michelle Gellar. But then I was like, you know, if he doesn't, that's on him because my love for Sarah Michelle Gellar is awesome. But like, I love her. Like, love her. Like, so much that I never want to meet her because I think I'll pass out and I don't want to embarrass myself in front of my queen. And, but I will never get a bunch of Sarah Michelle Gellar flags and then go incite violence in her name. Like, this is just so crazy to me that okay, so I'm driving through the Trump tailgate, I guess, which also it's adorable because these are the same people that don't want the electoral college to be abolished because they know that if once that happens, progressives are going to win because that's the majority of the country is progressive. Chelsea Handler said something really cool. A couple years ago, I don't know, but it was like, yo, the world's just getting gayer and browner. Hop on board or we're going to fucking leave you behind. And that's the thing, like, these people in Beverly Hills don't want the electoral college to go away because then they'll never, like, progressives always win the popular vote, right? I mean, in at least the last decade, I believe. Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty positive. But the funny thing is that, like, with the electoral college, those people's presidential vote typically does not count because California always goes blue, knock on wood. I mean, it already went blue yesterday, so I don't have to knock on wood for this time. But, like, it's just so funny. It's just like, go vote and I don't know, crack a book. I don't know. It's just, Jesus. So I drive to the audition. I'm so used to not booking that, like, I'm keep calling it an audition. I drive to the shoot, the commercial shoot that I booked. How exciting is that? I drive to it, and you have to get COVID tested, right? You got to do a COVID test. It's my first time on set since the pandemic, and I wondered what it would look like, and so they rented a rapid testing bus. So I pull up, and they were like, "Yeah, just go to the bus. You have an appointment. They'll give the test, and then once you get the once you get the results, text us, and we'll lead you up, and we'll begin." Right? So I'm like, "Oh, ow!" I'm hoping that this is recorded. Like, it looks like it is. I'm telling you, it was like 20 minutes of yelling in my closet. Okay, so you got to get rapid testing. And and then they lead you up to do the thing, right? I'm gonna sip water. I'm sorry, I need to hydrate because I'm a human being. I'm human. Did I ever tell you guys the time that I did this? I was on this game show and they had to do my makeup before, and I walked into the makeup chair, and the makeup artist said, and I have no idea why the fuck I would say this. The makeup guy goes, makeup artist goes, "Wow, you're really tall." And I laughed. I went, "Ha, for a human." I sat down. I was like, I don't know why I said that. Why would I say that? And he just looked at me, and I was like, and the only thing I could do is just like own it, right? Like, yeah, I said what I said. Like, oh my God. So you got to do the rapid testing, which is so weird. So I go up, and they get my information. We're all masked up and shielded, and then they do the nasal, but they don't do they said they don't do the nasal all the way to the back of the brain, but like it doesn't go to the brain, but you know what I mean. And then they did, and I was like, oh, okay, because I think maybe they only go halfway up your nose. I don't know. It's very unpleasant all the way around, but I'm negative, but I'm like sitting in my car, they're like, it'll be 15 minutes. I'm sitting in my car waiting for the results, watching Texas go lean red, lean blue, lean red, lean blue. Florida doing the same. There's so much. It's such a fucked up thing, man. It's such a fucked up thing. And excuse me, I just burped. Such a fucked up thing. So I'm watching that, waiting to find out if I have COVID, about to go shoot a commercial. Like, talk about a fucking cocktail of emotions, bro. And bro, I don't know who I am today. Your girl. So it's just a cocktail of emotions. Just like, so I get negative, and then I go up there, and it's just so funny. I wonder if other countries have the conspiracy theorists that we have here, or the people that think they know. Like, well, they don't really tell you, but I know. It's like, why would you know? Why would you know? You're here with me on the same level as me. Why would you know more than me? Like, why? Like, who called you and told you that Kennedy? You know what I mean? Like the conspiracy theorists are so crazy. It's like, what website did you find that isn't accessible to me? Because I read a lot, bro. So you just never know. But so I walk up, and I maybe we'll stay away from this just because I would like to work again. How fucked up is that? No, I'm going to say it. Who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? So I go up there, and the woman meets me at the thing, and she's really sweet. And I was just like, how's today been? She's like, oh, I'm not watching my phone at all. Like, I don't want to know. And I go in, and my hair is now all pretty, right? Like, my hair is all pretty. And the director comes out, he meets me, he goes, oh, do you think maybe we could put your hair in braids again? And I was like, oh, yeah. And he goes, honestly, like, I created a whole role for you because I loved your audition and your hair so much, which is awesome, right? And I was like, oh, and he was so cool. So we go in there. It's funny, the client had a Raiders mask, and why can't I am who I am. The fellow that I went out with, tours all over the country, and I don't know how he does it, because he's basically like, yeah, I can't do political stuff. I can't talk about it if I want to keep working. And I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have to learn how to do that. Or I don't. Or I got to just keep being this, and that'll get me where I need to go someday, right? Like, I just don't picture I'll ever be able to sit quietly in a room while people say things that aren't okay to say. Oh, God. Oh, man, everyone's so freaked out. My phone is just blowing up. Everyone is just like, 2016 just like ruined us. like that election. Like everyone was just so confident, and then like the all the networks are just reporting so many different things. I have 4 sites up right now that each have both electoral colleges at different numbers. How fucking wild is that? How is this hard? Just count the votes. So I couldn't not say go Broncos. But so you go in there, and I nailed this audition. I nailed this shoot. Like, it's so funny. They're like, yeah, it'd probably be about an hour. I'm like, okay. And it was 15 minutes. And they were like, we finished the dialogue. And then the director looked at the client and he goes, all right, I guess, yeah, that was great. You did it. And I was like, oh, has not everyone been able to do it? He goes, oh no, we've been having to, redo it a lot today. You just nailed it. Well, I watched my audition tape and I just looked like an enthusiastic asshole. I also think that doing this every week and you guys listening to me has really helped my performing on stage and in auditions. So, hey, let's interrupt with a I'm one lucky broad. Let's make that the I'm one lucky broad for the week. That I have this podcast, man, like, and that you listen to me and you care about what I have to say. I grew up in a household where my opinions weren't really listened to. 1, I was a girl, and 2, my parents were pretty distracted by their addictions and their own shit. So like I never had a voice growing up, and I talked a lot, but I would always just be like, there goes Kimmy again, she's just talking. I even go home now still, and I was talking about some big dream, a goal that I hit a couple of years ago, the last time I was home, and a pretty big thing that was happening in my career. And it's long to get into, but it was cool. And I was telling them about it, and instead of them being really happy for me, 2 of them got up and left the room, and then another one looked at the other one and said, God, what is she rambling about now? And like, so my whole life they've whatever, they are who they are, and I've picked my own. I have other family, and they love me in their way. I don't want to put them down. I love them. But yeah, it sucks. It sucked growing up that way. But now I have a voice. And like, I got in the closet this morning before I started yelling at my computer for 20 minutes. I'm much more calm now. I got in here this morning and I was just like, yeah, I'm just genuinely excited to record this. Like, I'm excited about, what's happening right now with the election. It's looking good. Knock on wood. I hope I don't eat my foot later. Shoot my mouth off. I don't fucking know what the saying is. But like, I'm one lucky broad that like I have this platform, and not only do I have this, but I have people who listen to me and care about what I have to say. I got this really cool message from this woman on Instagram this weekend that was just like, hey, forewarning, I'm about to stalk the fuck out of your Facebook or your Instagram. I binge listened to Crawl Space all weekend, and she was like, I love your stories, and you're one of the good ones. You're worthy. It was just one of the coolest, and thank you for sending that. I don't know if you want me to say your name or not. I don't know if you want a bunch of, I don't know. So I'll keep you anonymous. Unless you want me to, then you can DM me and I'll tell everybody next week. But like, I'm one lucky broad that I have this platform, and like a couple of things have come out of it that like I never in a million years thought. I actually had no expectations. I really thought I thought maybe 4 people would listen to it, and then it would peter out and I wouldn't really care about it that much. But a bunch of stuff has come about that like I didn't expect. Like, it has made, like, in the 3 shows I've done live in the last month, my comedy, it's helped my comedy. Like, just being able to just, relax. It's given me a platform. It makes, I don't know, and I've been able to really work out a bunch of shit that, like, I still need to work out. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of childhood shit, a lot of emotional stuff, a lot of like emotional sobriety is what they call it. And then not only that, but I get to feel not alone in my like thinking and things that have happened to me or I've been through, because you guys DM me and let me know that I'm not alone, that you relate to me. So I'm one lucky broad that I have this platform and that I have this podcast. How fucking rad is that? I actually am going to, we'll pause. I'll finish telling you. Don't worry. I'll finish telling you about the. I should always have this up going about my day yesterday. But you know how distracted I get. I am what I am. What is that? Is that Popeye? I am what I am. Is that what that is? I've been saying it a lot lately, and I have zero idea where it came from. I also don't listen to Popeye. or watch Popeye. It's not a radio show. It's a cartoon from the 60s or 70s. I actually have no idea. But I am what I am. Someone tell me what that. I think that's Popeye. So that leads me to I'm One Lucky Broad, and I said I'm going to start reading these every week. God, I just really went off the rails. If you listen to this, you know that's, I don't know why. Every week there's a moment where I'm like, man, I really went off the rails. I think I go really off the rails every time. I think that's part of why this is fun to listen to, right? It's like bees. I don't know if Ray still listens. I think he does. Hi, Ray. So I didn't have a lot of expectations for this podcast, right? And that's the One Lucky Broad. And now I want to read a review every week because I want to just express the gratitude I have that you guys are telling me you like what I'm saying. And then it's also a little reminder, if you get a minute, please subscribe. Please leave me a rating and a review. It just really helps get the podcast up front and gets people to listen to it. And I think I got stuff to say, you know? So this week I'm going to read the review of the guy who inspired me to do this, Matt Neal. He ran one of the coolest shows. I loved doing this show before the world ended. It was in Westlake Village, and every time, one time I had a not great set, but it wasn't terrible. But every other time, just like some of the best sets I've ever had. Great audience, great. It's just awesome comedians. It's when the world comes back, and that comes back. You got to check it out. But he's always been so encouraging of my career, and he messaged me, like a week into the pandemic, and was just like, which I was supposed to headline that show for the first time, like 2 weeks in after the lockdown, right? It was like April 1st or some shit. I was supposed to headline, and I was so fucking excited to be called the headliner of one of my favorite shows. I'm still bummed that I didn't get to do that, but there'll be plenty of time. I have faith. Things will find a new way. Humans prevail, right? But he texted me, and he goes, so what are you going to do? Like, how are you going to keep creative or whatever? And he basically suggested I do this. And so if it weren't for Matt Neal, I wouldn't have even thought about doing a podcast. Like, my whole life has completely moved around because of starting to do this podcast. Like, my career has taken a different turn. What I want to do with it, like, this little text message that he sent me, that was probably him just being like, yo, you should do this. And, like, I don't know how much thought, but to me, it, like, changed everything. And so I'm One Lucky Broad for that. So I'm going to read his review. Thank you, Matt. Thank you. He said, 5 stars. Oh, yeah, if you leave a rating, please leave 5 stars. If you don't, just, move along. That's how I feel about, I don't understand people who leave negative shit. Just move it along. You know what I mean? No one, like, the people don't need to know. People will listen and then whatever. I don't like Yelp. 5 stars said, getting to know Kim Kral, finally. So psyched to hear what comes next from the mind of Kim Kral. And it said one of the most unique and, I can't read the rest of it because it's on my phone. One of the most unique but thank you, Matt. Thank you. And thank you for inspiring me to do this. This has been something that has kept me fucking sane. So I think that, so I'm going back to the shoot. I think because I have this podcast every week, it's made me better in my auditions and I guess when I shoot a commercial because I just nailed it. And he was like they were like, yeah, you're done. I was done in 20 minutes. And I was like, really? That's it? They go, yeah, that was really easy. That was great. And then I went to check my phone and I was like, does anybody want to know? Or I'm like, do I wait till I get to my car? Does anyone want to know what's happening? And the director was like, I want to know. And then one of the casting director, I think that's what PA. I have no idea. Probably had to learn these things when for my inevitable stardom. I'm not kidding. I was gonna say just kidding, but I'm not. But she's like, I'm gonna plug my ears because I don't want to know. And so one of the guys walks me out, and this is where it's like, God, you gotta really be careful. I'm a burpee now. You gotta be really careful about what you like. Just not like that I want to be careful with what I say because I don't want to offend someone. I mean, I want to be careful with what I say because then I'm walking out to my car with some dude and he starts telling me some stuff about how great Trump actually has done. And I'm just like, oh, God, did you vote? And I think he said he didn't vote. He was just like, I'm bipartisan. I'm like, okay. and it's dark out, and I'm just like, and now he's talking, and I just don't know what the polite, because I'm grateful for the commercial. It was really awesome. I'm excited to see it, but I'm just like, I honestly just want to get in my car and get back home before anything crazy happens, because LA could get nuts tonight. Who knows what's going to happen? And I was just like, okay, cool. I want to go home. I was just like, I want to go home. Hopefully he doesn't listen to this. I have this big fear of like, then on my way home, my Jehovah's Witness cousin, which like, bless her, you know what I mean? Like, I have my feelings about that whole thing, and we don't have to get into it. I have talked about it a lot in previous episodes. And like, I think she just wants to be friends. We're similar ages. We've never been close ever. Like, I think I've met her 5 times. Maybe that's a lie. Probably like 30 times. But still, like, we've never been close. And now she's trying. And it's just like in the middle of this, like the biggest election of our lifetimes. And I'm not even sure Jehovah's Witnesses are allowed to vote. I wouldn't be surprised if they were. We're not. But like in the middle of this, she just writes, "How's life?" And I'm just like, I don't even know how to respond to that. I can't pretend that this massive thing is not happening because you don't believe it matters, because 144,000 of you is going to go get to live with Jehovah while the rest of us go and die eternally or whatever. It's so funny. It's just so opposite ends of the spectrum. And then I also posted a voting poll yesterday. Not who you voted for, but did you vote? How'd you vote? I did add I copy and pasted it, and you did add a vote for D. That's for Democrat, right? Let's make it a blue wave. And a few people, it's just funny how people need to be like, I voted for Donald because I love Donald Trump. And it's just like, no. And luckily, I didn't acknowledge it. No one else did. I don't think. I have a tendency to post something on Facebook and then completely forget about it and then come back and it's like 100 comments. And I'm like, oh, I don't care. I don't want to touch that. I don't want to know. And so maybe people did, but I think everyone just let it be, because it's just like, well, you're obviously just instigating. Oh, wow. So yeah, cocktail of emotions. The dude I went out with last week, took him a week to call me, text me, whatever. But I hope he doesn't listen to this. I don't think he does. I feel like he's super busy. He's pretty busy. But whatever, if he does, hello. And if this scares him away, much more would have scared him away pretty quickly. So here we are. But I don't know how to date like a normal person. Like I said, I'm used to, going out with these codependent psychos that want to move in with me the next day. Or like, yeah, we could just hang out all the time. I'll call you nonstop, and then we'll always talk. We'll just talk, we'll talk, and we won't have our own lives, and we'll just hang out all the time. And this guy was like, yo, can we take it really, really slow? And I'm like, okay. And as I said, a sponsor, it's a mentor type thing in recovery if you're not, I just switched sponsors. And my new one was just like, she was just like, let him show up for you. Don't text him. I did thank him for a good night. Well, I wasn't like, thanks for a good time. I don't know why I just did that. Oh my God, I want to look at my phone so bad. Let's look. Let's just look. Let's do it all together, shall we? Oh, I don't know what's happening. Okay. Why can't, it doesn't look like any news. Oh, there's a person setting fire at Yucca and Ivar. My Citizens app is on fire, dude. I guess that one is literal fire, but like, Jesus, the world. Oh, it's just, Trump got one more electoral college. One more. I feel better now. I feel better. But so she was like, let him show up for you. Don't text him at all. Let him, and if he doesn't, you'll be okay. Like, I have a lot of abandonment issues, and I'm fucking codependent, right? Like those are two of the main key points when you grow up with alcoholism and dysfunction, which, oh boy, I did, is fear of abandonment. And I'll do anything to get you to not abandon me. Anything to get you, like, I spent years abandoning myself over and over and over again just to get whoever, insert guy name here, or insert friend name here, insert boss, job, everything, insert anything but me. I would abandon myself just to get you not to abandon me. because I was abandoned so hardcore as a kid that those feelings are so fucking scary to me. And now I feel, and she was like, I can't be abandoned. Like, there's only two absolutes in this world, and me, like yourself, and then whatever higher power you believe in, whether if you believe in your sky dad, universe, source, it's all the fucking same thing to me. I guess sky dad's a little out there. I don't think sky dad is real. Sky dad who doesn't like gay people and thinks that abortion is murder, but it's cool to put kids in cages. Sorry, had to say it. But like, and that's not sky dad. That's religious folk, right? Like hardcore religious folk. How many people did I offend there? I don't care. So like those are two absolutes. Like, I can't be abandoned. And so in the past, I would text a guy that I liked in hopes to be like, I'm going to text you enough to get you to like me. I am charming and you're going to see it. But like, she was right. She was like, just let him show up for you. And it's okay that it takes a little bit of time. He did tell you, I want to take this very slow. And I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to. So I'm terrified of this whole thing. And who knows, we may go out and I also have to check myself too. Do I actually like this person, or is this, because wanting someone to pick you is also a trauma response. Like needing them to pick you, even if you don't like them, just because you don't want to be abandoned. That's a trauma response, which I had a lot of trauma. So like, I have to also keep checking in with myself and being like, do I like him? Or is this just me not wanting to be left? Or I want to feel like worthy or picked because some guy picked me. You know what I mean? Like, and so far, yeah, I do. I do everything I've seen from him. I do like. So we'll see. I'm going to hold this close to my chest, but I am terrified. As I shared a couple of episodes ago, I'm looking for the first time in my life. I'm able to say out loud that I am looking for an actual healthy, serious relationship. I want to get married and I want to have kids, which is really scary for me to admit, because a lot of people, after the episode, I said that a few people messaged me that they were surprised because they had never heard me say I wanted kids, but then they followed it up with that I would be a really good mom. And that means a lot to me, because I didn't have a very good mom. And that is the fear that you'll repeat those steps. But I also am like changing, decades of familial patterns by doing this hardcore work, right? Like, it's generational. Like, if you don't stop and work on yourself, you are doomed to repeat it. Like, a lot of my family is still doing the same shit that like their parents did and their parents did. And like, sometimes like, and this is going to sound really fucked up, but hear me out. I'm really grateful, actually, that my abuse was so bad. Because if it wasn't that bad, I would never have gotten the fuck out of there. Like a lot of my family is like still like, well, they weren't that bad. And it's still this like codependent, like, just repeating generational shit. But because mine was so bad, I had to get the fuck out of there or I would die. I would die. I would have died, right? So I'm grateful in some way for the heinous shit that happened to me, because it got me where I am now, and it forced me to turn around and look at this stuff as opposed to carrying it alone the rest of my life, right? And so, but as a result, I don't know how to date. I usually date guys that I know how it's going to end. It's going to be chaos. You're going to break my heart. You're probably going to cheat. You're going to do drugs. You're going to, it's just going to be really fucked up, and you're going to leave. And then I got to be victim-y and sad and like, that's not going to work out. The guy who has the cocaine addiction, the guy who can't commit, the emotionally unavailable, it's never going to work out. But that is safe to me because I grew up in chaos, and chaos is safe to me, or at least it was. And I'm working to change that. I am afraid that maybe I will always feel a home in chaos, which makes me pretty good in a crisis, which there's a lot of really awesome shit that as a result of that, like I'm think on my toes. I don't panic a lot. Like I live in chaos, right? Like that's my home, where my alignment was as a kid. Like, that's where I had to survive, right? So I survive in chaos, but like, I don't want to survive anymore. Like, I don't want to just like merely survive. I want to live. And up until recently, I never thought, like they say it's a PTSD thing, to not being able to look too far into the future. And up until recently, I just never thought that a family would be in the cards. I just never thought that, like, I don't know if it's just worthy or enough. I mean, of course there's feelings in there that I wasn't worthy or enough of love of a healthy man or woman. But, or just like, I wasn't going to be around much longer. Like, I just like, I was just like, oh, make it to 10. All right, we made it to 10. Make it to 13, and it's like, you made it to 18. All right, let's just make it to 20. We made it to 20. All right, let's make it, like, it was just always like, make them laugh, do this, survive, whatever you got to do. Just don't, blah, blah, blah. Don't pause for a second. And now I've done all this work and I've paused, and I deserve that and I want that. And saying it out loud is really scary. And also, it's gonna be really scary. And I don't know if this is for normal people, but I like think about this guy, and who knows, like we're just inserting this guy for this now. Like, I may never see him again. There may be another, another person, but that's scarier to me, that like we take it slow and then we have a TV show we watch together and cook dinner on Sundays and like support each other and like listen to each other and like, not just be like fucked up while he does cocaine and I think I should do cocaine because I'm codependent and I don't want him to leave me, right? Like, well, that went off the rails. But like, I just mean, like, I don't know how to do this, but I do know one thing. I am not alone. I have an insane amount of support around me, and I don't have to figure it all out today. I can just take it one day at a time, one date at a time, one step at a time. And if I'm just honest and open, it's gonna be okay. Like, I tend to live in the wreckage of the future, and I'm working to step back and take it this moment. This moment, I have a second date with a very nice guy that I enjoyed hanging out with last week, yeah, so we'll see. And then I've shared that I have a guy that I was in a very unhealthy, very unavailable relationship with for 3 years, 2 years ago. Very, very unhealthy. I loved him, and he's back. And it took me 2 years of burying those emotions and running from them. And every dude I had dated since then has just been to chase away these feelings because I didn't know how to process the end of this 3-year, very unhealthy, very hard relationship. And it was around the time my dad died. It actually started right after my dad died. So it was just like so I went and met with my new mentor, right? And sponsor, if you're 12-step, you'll know what I'm talking about. If not, it's just mentor. Last week, and I told her that he was back, and I told her the whole thing, and I was like, he's back, and I the not respecting me and all that stuff, and we just sat there, and I was just like, I think I need to just block him. I was like, I think I need to say my piece, and then I'll block him. And she goes, I don't think you need to say your piece. You don't need to say it. Just block him. And then I was like, okay, I think I need to do that with you here. And then I did. I blocked him on everything. And she was so lovely. It was so supportive. We just sat there and like in quiet while she just like walked me through breathing and just told me that like I wasn't alone. And that like if I couldn't do it on my own, then she was there for me. And like, I'm happy crying because it's just like, God, I cry so much. I'm so supported and so loved. And it's been a week since I blocked him. He hasn't shown up at my job or sent me an email. And the old chaotic, dysfunctional Kim Kral is very upset that there hasn't been an email professing his love. But the new healthy Kim Kral is really grateful that he has so far respected a very clear boundary of leave me alone. And I'm just grateful that like that means there's more space for better things in my life. Like I cleared out a little bit more of my closet of just like bullshit, and I deserve a good dude. So yeah, last week was a cocktail of emotions. And then also just like being like, why hasn't this guy called me? Does that ever go away? Like when I'm doing it differently this time. It's amazing how many people are like, you should just call him. And I'm like, you know what? I always just call him. And this time I'm just gonna let it be. There's a regular at my bar that is I enjoy this gentleman a lot. And I told him a little bit about this guy, and he goes, let him lead the way. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, just let him be the gentleman. And exactly what my sponsor, just let him show up for you. Don't try and dominate. Don't. And I was like, well, when am I allowed to be in charge? He's like, you're in charge as soon as it becomes something. Right now, you just let him show you who he is. And that's I don't think I ever do that. I think I just like text you, get you to like me, and never look at who you are just so I can be loved and feel enough and worthy. You know, if that makes sense. Oh boy. Another crying episode of Kim Kral, or Kral Space. On the date, I did tell him, I was like, maybe I had to stop telling people this. I cry every day. He was like, because he goes, I get choked up a lot. He goes, yeah, I cry. He's like, I'm kind of a crier. Like, not like I don't sob, but like things like choke me up or I get moved, and I think that is very sexy. Like a man who's emotionally connected and available and isn't afraid to show emotions is sexy. We need to get rid of this like, I'm a man, I'm not a pussy, I don't cry. Like, fuck off. Like that is the core problem of almost everything. It is sexy when a man is able to show emotions. But I was like, yeah, I cry like every day. And he goes, oh, every day? And then I'm like, why do I think I cried today? Oh no, yeah, I cried a couple times today. And he was like, oh, but like, I mean, I cry like I get moved or I get, whatever. I cried at the Eminem for the first time in history allowed a politician to use his music, and he let Biden fucking do it. And what does that tell you? If Eminem's on board, let's vote Biden. I'm still looking at the thing. It's not moved. Oh my god. Yeah. So thank you. Thank you for listening to me. Don't worry, I didn't forget the poop scoop. I decided this week's poop scoop is going to be a little educational. So it's no secret that I have bathroom problems, right? Like sometimes I can't stop shitting, and then sometimes I don't poop for like 5 days. It's a real fun time. And you tell your doctor, and they just want to pump you full of drugs, and you're like, I feel like there's like a deeper problem here that we should probably get to the bottom of instead of just giving me more pills. You know what I mean? And it's been pretty good. But so I found this cleanse. I'm always trying to find these cleanses that will, be natural, like not like a laxative, be natural, but also won't make you like have to like pop a tent at your toilet because you're going to be there for 3 days. You know what I mean? Like it's like, well, I better not have anything planned for the rest of the day. Otherwise, like I'm going to miss it, or I'm going to shit my pants. So I'm always looking for this. And celery juice worked for a long time for me, but I guess my body got used to it. But then it also, when I stop for a while, and then I do the celery juice where you juice it first thing in the morning. When I would do it, it was like the first couple of times it was like, oh, I pooped great, and then the next few times it was like I pooped great, but then it was just like kind of poopy all day, and no one wants to just run to the bathroom and poop all day. Anyway, so the poop scoop this week is telling you I found this cleanse, and I'm going to give you the recipe right now, and it's been amazing. I don't do it every day. I did it like once last week and once this week, and within 45 minutes, you just shit, and then it's over. That's it. You just shit a bunch, and then it's over. It's like 20 minutes, and you're good, and it's nice, and it's satisfying, and it's actually not a bad concoction. A lot of these things you have to like plug your nose and like pound and then just pray you don't like shit your pants all day, right? So it's called Remove Pounds of Toxins with Apple Ginger Lemon Colon Cleanse Juice. I feel like they could change it to a smaller name, right? Oh boy. So the ingredients, this is your poop scoop. I had a really great poop yesterday, and I still can't stop thinking about it. What a cocktail of emotions yesterday. Most of yesterday was really, really great. The only thing was just going to bed being like, please don't let me wake up to a Donald Trump victory. That was the only thing. There was just like one uncertainty. Otherwise, it was a banner of a day. Great poop. Shot a commercial. I don't have COVID. I got new sunglasses, which I'll post on. That'll be the picture today because the sunglasses are really cute. And I'm gonna release this. I'm gonna go meet up with my sponsor mentor. We're gonna talk a little bit more about all the abuse that I can let go of, and then I have some comedy meetings tonight. It's a good couple of days. So, the ingredients to help you poop. You want 3 organic apples. What is not organic? I don't understand. Isn't an apple just organic in its own? Like, no one's manufacturing a fucking apple, right? I don't know. Maybe that's dumb. 1 knob of fresh ginger root, 1 lemon or lime, and a tablespoon. It's TSP. I'm unclear if that's table or teaspoon. I do not know. I think it's a teaspoon. I just match it to my ingredient thing on my whatever it is on the spoon. It says it on there, and I'm like, I've never looked into it. That's going to be one of those things. I can't even remember what I was going to look into at the beginning of this podcast. See, that's what happens. My brain, no short-term memory. Of Himalayan salt or Celtic salt, and a half a cup of warm water. So you juice the 3 apples, ginger, and lemon or lime. You pour it into a glass. You dissolve the sea salt into the warm water, and then you combine them. You drink on an empty stomach, and the cleansing should start in 30 minutes. All disease starts with the gut. Oh my God, it's been glorious. I mean, it doesn't smell great. I'm not gonna sugarcoat for you. It's a massive dump you're about to take, but it's awesome. All right, I think that's the episode, guys. God, either way, next week, who knows what is going to happen. I'm really hopeful. I have a lot of faith. I don't know. As of when I got on here, Joe Biden has received the most votes any presidential candidate has received in history. Over 50% of the popular vote is at Joe Biden, and that is so much up from last election, where it's like people are learning and waking up, and maybe there's hope. Maybe we have hope. And either way, like my friend Jamie said, no matter what, we're still not done. We're very divided. We have a lot of the gap of uneducated people in this country and the voter suppression and the racism and the women and just so much fucking shit. So the world, we're not done. We don't get to go back to being complacent if Biden wins. We still should keep reading and educating ourselves and all that shit, right? And talking to each other and being kind and wearing a mask. God, there's so many people that I saw this thing that Dr. Fauci was like, he's like, yeah, I spent my whole life studying diseases. Or it was a meme. I don't think he said it, but it was like this guy spends his whole life studying viruses and diseases, and then he creates this one thing just so he can get a bunch of rednecks to wear a cloth over his face. He won. Like, so ridiculous. Just wear your mask. So that's the show. I am Kim Kral. As always, I'd love it if you would leave me a rating and a review. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Follow me on everything. It's KYMKRAL. If you want to send me a poop scoop or I'm one lanky broad, or just send me any sort of anything, I would love it. I have an email address. Literally no one has emailed me. Literally no one. Actually, I checked it a week ago, so maybe someone has in this last week. But it's KYMKRALSPACE@gmail.com. And that's it, guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Be kind to each other. Wear a mask. Be safe out there. And I will see you next week. Bye.